And do you want to start it off, or like I don't know, I don't know if we have an intro or not.
We haven't, no.
I don't have a theme song.
That's what I'm working on.
I don't know anything about that, dude.
That's what I'm working on. I have to talk to my friend, PJ.
Latino Secrets.
It's Latino. We just both sing it.
Yeah. I mean,
Latino
sometimes it's the simplest thing. It's like
It
less
really,
is
yeah.
more.
Yeah, I can start it if you want.
Yeah,
Ladies first.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Latino Secrets. I am Alessandra, and I have my co-host here.
I'm Rolando. How you guys doing?
And we're here with we are here with Lehi.
Yes.
Or Lehi.
Hi.
How would you say
Either
your
one
name?
is fine.
Lehi? Either one?
It varies, I guess, by whoever wants to say it. Lehi in English, and then Lehi in Spanish.
Lehi. Okay.
So, yeah.
So first, a little background about us. I think I want to start off with
Perfect.
is I was born in Peru, but I was raised here in America, right? I don't know Ali's situation. She was born here, but she was raised like she's from a Peruvian family as well.
Yep.
And Lehi, what's your story?
Born in Mexico, raised here all my life. Got here in Georgia when I was 5. Both my parents studied over there, but came over here for a better opportunity.
Awesome.
Cool.
So we're all very much Latin American.
We're basically the same, yeah. Fresh.
Minus,
fresh off the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know, Ali, if you want to start off with or the topic that we're about to discuss today.
Yes, we're going to talk about what it means to be Latino. Yeah, kind of what all that kind of entails with also being raised in the U.S. So, Lehi, tell us a little bit about maybe, because I mean, obviously moving here when you were 5, that's like I'd assume it was a big change.
Yeah, it was, in the sense of feeling like, you were born here, but also having that cultural side where your parents are always talking Spanish. They're always, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it didn't hit me or impact me, that knowing that I wasn't really from here, in the sense because of how my family and my older siblings can talk about certain things about where we came from, and I had no recollection of it due to the fact that I got here when I was 5.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't change it, because I mean, I feel like maybe better opportunities here that I would have over there. And during that time, the reason why my parents came over here was because of the economy. The peso, which is the currency over there, had dropped tremendously, and my father lost all his businesses and had to come over here, and took that risk and came here with a visa, and just worked it out, and we stayed over there, and then came over here afterwards, after he kind of established himself. So yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, for Lehi, like I know, like me and you have two different ways of. Cause me and Ali kind of raised up a little more white. I want to say Americanized, right?
Yeah, no, not white, but more gentrified, I guess, right? Would you say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the PC version of that is, but yeah, very.
Yeah, but very, very, North American.
Mm-hmm.
I was into rock in middle school. Lehi was into hip hop or Latino, whatever. He's trying to get jumped in middle school.
I think it was also the our environments that we were in. It was that my parents always tried to put me in a good school, and never wanted us to because they're educated. They went to college over there in Mexico, and they just didn't want to just live anywhere. So they always try to, but as time passes, whenever you're in a school, it might get less and less. I don't want to say less and less white, but less and less like Americanized, and there's more Hispanics coming in. There's more less and less, and so after a while, then that's when it went from, like you said, Ron listening to like Blink-182 and Panic at the Disco and all these.
That was me too.
I like that.
Like Green Day and all these bands, to me listening to SPM, to Baby Bash, to all these
That's
like
funny.
different culture. But like, cause I was used to, cause that's what I was around. I feel like I was still kind of Americanized, because I still never always felt like all the way fit in. Like I never felt like I fit in. all the time because I was not raised that way. I think
Did you have
that was
more like?
yeah.
Sorry, did you have more like
No.
Latino friends growing up? You think?
At the beginning, yeah. At the beginning, I think what also influenced it was having my older brothers, two older
Mm,
brothers, and the way they dress. Like I think back then, reggaeton, which is like a genre for music, was very, very popular. And
yeah.
so my older brothers were very into it, and so I wanted to dress like that with the Air Force Ones and the
The
big
baggy
jerseys, and
clothes, the baggy
That's
clothes.
yeah,
like how I remember you as. I feel
Yeah.
like.
wow, that's really wow, that's
he had
embarrassing.
he had the cornrows too, Lehi. I don't know if you tell you that.
Yeah,
Did
you know
you?
what?
He,
I'm the one that set it up. You know, I was the founder of that of the cornrows whenever it wasn't popular yet. Because I
That's
remember walking
hilarious.
into the middle school bus thinking I was so cool, and the minute I get in the bus, everybody was laughing at me, just
No.
completely laughing at me because they started calling me Don Omar.
don't know. I was gonna say.
So
He thought he looked
yeah,
like the person. Oh, who'd you think you look like? You it said something very. You look like someone like really good looking. You thought you looked like with the
I
cornrows and
don't.
everything.
I don't remember. I don't remember who could have been, but I really did. But like going back to the topic, I guess of the difference of our lifestyles, it's that you know, growing up at home, I was knew right from wrong. I was educated, I guess you could say, and I don't want to sound like, you know, like I'm up there, but I was educated in the sense of like I knew what was right from wrong. And when
Yeah.
I started hanging out with people from school that didn't have that background like my parents did or like I did, it was just like, okay, I kind of had to fit in, kind of sort of. You know, I kind of had to be like, okay, well, this is the crowd that kind of accepted me, and I have to roll with it because once I started trying to hanging out with, which were the American kids, the white kids, I never really fit in anyways because so I feel like I was always in the middle where I didn't fit in neither on one side, neither completely on the other.
Yeah.
Because I was like stuck in both worlds.
Yeah.
And so that's where all the decisions after middle school about wearing those clothes, and then high school was kind of more transitioning to like who I was, trying to actually picking out my actual friends. And that's how I met Rolando. But we didn't like each other.
Yeah, I thought he was cocky.
You did?
Yeah, I thought he was
I
too
didn't
full,
know that.
too full of himself. You know, he was trying to be the clown.
No, it's
I mean,
confidence.
valid.
It's
And
confidence.
so it's confidence. And
That's
so yeah, I mean, but like I said, like I feel like growing up in that type of environment.
Well, the church too, right? Like we both,
Yeah, that's what I was
all
gonna
three of
come
us
to.
come
Yeah,
from the church.
church
Mm-hmm.
was that played a major part. I feel like as well of how we were all raised. You know,
Yeah.
we weren't raised like our parents drinking around us, smoking around us.
Yeah.
Like we like, you know, like I said, like I think it's like whatever product you like, you're a product of the environment, of your
For
environment.
sure.
So
Yeah.
school had some type of effect on it, but at the end, like I am who I am from my parents, and so once I grew out of that in high school, like I kind of like, that's why I really don't talk to anybody from my high school days except people from church, because I started going to the white church, and that's when I started realizing that, you know, like I didn't kind of fit in with the Latino culture because I was just trying to like be who I was, and I even got involved in like being supposedly in a gang.
Oh,
Because
really?
that's how bad, not bad the schools were, but it was just affiliated more of that sense.
Like you knew
Where did you
people
grow
that
up
were in
again?
gangs.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up again?
So when I was younger in elementary, I went to a Fulton County elementary school, which was named was High Point Elementary, which was very Americanized.
Okay.
Very good school. And then from there, we transitioned to go to Norcross, which was Gwinnett County. And it was still okay, decent schools. And then once, like I said, I hit middle school, that's when everything was like going a little bit less and less. And then that's when, like, I think like gangs, like being like, the gangs were very popular at that time.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
they
Middle
were.
school, definitely. Like I saw
Middle
people
school,
getting jumped in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, I just kind of followed the crowd because also one of my older brothers was involved or kind of like dressed that part.
Oh.
And so I was between the reggaeton clothing and then the cholo. And so the one thing that I guess, things that I saw, you know, like I kind of made me realize that that's not what I wanted, or that's not who I was, because
Yeah.
unfortunately one of my good close friends passed away from being in a gang. Like, he went to a party and, got an altercation, and he was fatally, stabbed. And
Right.
so that kind of, like, me being 14 or 13 years old and going to a funeral of a friend and seeing them there, it kind of like changes your whole perspective and who you really want to surround yourself with. So thankfully, I was able to be mature enough to realize that at an early age. And my parents always, kind of putting me in my place, in the sense of not letting me do as I please.
As Hispanic parents do.
Yes, yeah. I think especially your mom,
Yeah.
they always throw the chancla at you and stuff. If you don't do anything and like the right thing. So I think, and then the church also played a big part as well. I think having somewhere to go to during Sundays, and like hanging out with friends that you could relate to, and they were Hispanic, I think also helped.
Yeah.
Because you can relate. Yeah, go ahead, Ron. Sorry.
I think we all like have like the same similar, because we're in a church, right? They're all Latinos, and they're like more Americanized as well, So they weren't like just like I don't know, fresh off the boat, but but I know Allie since like elementary too, but like she hanged out with a different crowd rather than, because she didn't go to the Spanish branch that we went to.
I didn't.
We went to Roswell, which is more predominantly Americanized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, white. Okay.
White. It's
I didn't want to say that. So I said American.
I'll say it.
We could say it.
All right. I don't know how PC you guys want this podcast to be. So.
I mean,
yeah,
white is white.
I don't know. Yeah, because
I'm American, but I'm not white. So.
Yeah. So I think just be ourselves. Be casual. Just Yeah. Don't get in trouble. Don't get in trouble with what you say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like so I like to pick your brain a little bit, Lehi, because like to me, the reason I had to conform was because I know you had brothers and sisters, right? You were the youngest, right? I was the oldest, so, and I had no family, I had no cousins, all that stuff growing up, coming here, right? So my experience is a little bit different from you. Come here, sleeping on my dad's friend's couch and everything, and seeing my parents struggle with the English language, to me that put a lot of emphasis growing up. Like, I need to learn English. English is important. And Spanish is not gonna get me anywhere. That's what I saw. Because I saw people like not really respecting Spanish speakers and all that stuff.
For sure.
So that's why I kind of lean more towards like speaking English throughout my childhood, and associating myself with more American people. And so when that happened in middle school, like, I was hanging out with more of like American crowd, right? So then I don't want to say Mexicans, but Latino people, with predominantly Mexicans, right?
Yeah.
That just came over, from Mexico or whatever. So they're in ESOL and all that stuff, and the gangs, all that crap. And they look at me and they think like, oh, you're good enough. You think you're hot shit because you don't want to talk Spanish, whatever. But like the reality was like, because I didn't practice my Spanish, I didn't want to look like an idiot saying something like a white guy,
Yeah.
Gringo, like, and that makes me feel embarrassed because you're in middle school, right? You don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah. That's like the last thing you want to do. Like, you're like, I don't want to draw any attention myself.
Yeah.
When I'm already sticking out in like a predominantly white school.
Exactly. And then so that's why I never hanged out with the Latino people, because also I was not in the same mentality as they were, as in like I knew how to speak the English language, Spanish wasn't my first primary language that I spoke all the time, So, and I know with you, like, you hanged out with more Latino crowds as well, like in middle school or in high school, right?
Yeah, middle school was exhausting, because in middle school, like, I was like trying to be in the gang, and I would always try to be cool because I didn't want to be left out. And so I didn't want my parents either to know that I was affiliated with that. And so I would like transition from me dressing a certain way when I got out of the house, and then switching shirts to like a cholo shirt.
Oh my gosh.
It's like you're a girl, man.
Yeah, just to fit in. And then I got caught one time because I forgot that my mom was coming over for lunch for middle school, because in middle school and elementary, I think your parents could go to lunch with you or whatnot. So I was waving at her, and then I realized she was staring at me, and I was like, why is she staring at me? And then I realized, oh my gosh, I have the lowrider shirt.
The lowrider shirt?
Yeah, the lowrider shirt. Like this, like, and it was just like, but I feel like I would always have to transition when I used to go to church, because I started going to Peachtree Corners, which is more of a, like a white, all American. And that's when I started kind of picking up more of that culture again, and hanging out and kind of I felt more comfortable in the sense, I guess, like not having to like do stuff or say stuff or try to fit in.
Yeah.
It was more just like comfortably relaxed and just it flowed better, I guess. And
That's,
so that's when I started. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's interesting because I feel like for me it was like the opposite. I felt like I was trying to fit in with like a white crowd, and like
Yeah.
because I had a lot of white friends, and you're
Yeah.
like I was trying to fit in with all these Latinos.
Yeah, because like I don't know, like I guess I was maybe just too goofy and I didn't have those rough. I guess what makes a Hispanic, I guess people think makes a Hispanic a full true Hispanic is
Mm-hmm.
the experiences, the rough childhoods or something they've been through that makes them that like rough or edgy.
Yeah.
Well, you brought an interesting topic though, a question on. So what does it mean to be Latino then? Like, is it skin color? Is it culture? Is it upbringing? Because I know I remember interviewing for a girl that she got adopted by white parents, and she's like from Mexico. Like,
Mm-hmm.
straight up, she looks. How do you say that? Una persona que parece como mexicana, como paisa, not paisa, pero then
Like native.
no,
Like
India.
native.
Se
no, no,
parece India.
no. There's
India.
a word for it, Nepal, not Nepal, or
Nopal.
Nopal. Is that what you say?
No, well, so that reference is only used or term is used whenever someone's acting like they can't speak English. Or I mean Spanish.
Okay.
Spanish, and you're like, hey, you talk to them in Spanish, like, hey, ¿cómo estás? And then they're like, oh no, I don't speak Spanish, and then that's when you say, oh, that's interesting because I can see the nopal right on your forehead, and then basically saying like you can't hide where it looks like you're from, and nopals usually come from Mexico.
Yeah.
So that's where it's those like little slangs, I guess, Latin slangs that you learn when you pick up. But honestly, I didn't know any of that, and I would get made fun of by my own family because I was starting to lose the Spanish. Because I like Rolando, I didn't really think it was necessary because nobody else around me used it.
Yeah,
Right.
And
that was me too.
and so I guess that's when like what the topic of what it means to be Latino is like. I feel like it is kind of like culture, kind of trying to really like figure out where you belong and I feel like Latinos come in all shape like different like shapes and sizes, like in the sense of like how much Latino you are. Like Latino shouldn't be like minimized to one thing. Like Latino is like a melting pot, I want to say.
Yeah.
No, it really is because
Mm-hmm.
it really is because we know some people that are like, look white American as heck, and they speak the perfect Spanish, and they're like they're super Latino, right?
Yeah.
And there's denying that they're Latino.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have another person that looks so like traditionally what American people think Latino people look like, right? Like dark skin, dark features, all that stuff, very native looking, and they speak only English. Like they don't know a lick of Spanish at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy because like even I mean in Peru, like I think all of my cousins and stuff are like super fair. Like I have cousins that are like blonde. So like if they were here, like you'd never like you wouldn't know they were Peruvian, you know? And like
are they from like the city?
That's where my family's from, the city. So like that's why I look more white.
I feel like you're only those type of Latinos like that are like if they're like that, I feel like I automatically know they're from the city.
European
Yeah,
descent.
I know that's exactly what it is. I'm Italian and Spanish.
Oh, there she is.
Descent, yeah. But like I still like I'm still Latino. So or Latina, I guess.
If you guys can't see Lehi's, because in the podcast, Lehi is shaking his hand like an Italian mobster.
That's so racist. Why you guys say
That's
that? Actually, I am Italian too, so I can't even lie.
Okay, so another thing about that, like, because we know, me and Lehi actually know somebody. I won't say the name of this person. Let's call him Eric, right? Eric in high school, he was surrounded with all these white people, right? And he, because he was surrounded with all these white people, he denied his Mexicanness. Like, he's like, I'm not Mexican, I'm Italian.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. He had a phase.
Yeah, a very phase, yeah.
But, like, I can understand, like, I mean, not to, like, give him credit either, but, like, I can understand that because, like, I mean, probably up until, like, middle school, there weren't a lot of Latinos in this area. And, like, the only ones there were like straight from Mexico or something. So I was like, I was born here. I lived here my whole life.
You couldn't relate.
You couldn't
I couldn't relate. And like, I didn't want to be like people assume like where you're from, right? And I was like, well, I'm just like, I'm white. I think I just like I kind of like was like, you know what, like it's easier. I don't like people. I didn't like speaking Spanish because it was like different than all my other friends, and like
Right. You
it's
don't want to explain yourself either, you know,
exactly.
like it's just like, yeah, I totally get that. I did the same thing when I was working in Delhi in Publix, whatever.
Hmm.
People assume that I knew Spanish, which I understand Spanish, but the
Yeah.
speaking parts I have a hard time doing, you know, because I'm practicing.
Hmm.
So I just tell them, hey, I'm Filipino, whatever. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
So
Easy
You
way
know,
out.
it's crazy because I was thinking that I feel like we didn't want to speak it or like be around that culture because I guess we didn't realize or didn't know if we had anybody to relate to.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it was either they were fully American or they were fully Hispanic.
Hmm.
There
exactly.
was no in between.
Yeah.
So, I guess as we got older and as we, actually got out in the real world,
Hmm.
and started like actually meeting people, like that's when I feel like all of us like could be like, oh, like I like I can I don't mind like I love being Latino.
You can be
That's when
Hmm.
it kind
yourself.
of you
You
kind of
said,
like embraced
Yeah.
it
yeah, you can be yourself. Like
because
I'm Latino, like I'm Americanized, but also I'm a Latino as well, and
right,
it can
Hmm.
right,
both happen at the same time, right? It can't
Yeah.
be one or the other.
Hmm. Well,
right.
it
So
has
like you
to happen
started,
at the
yeah,
same time. Like
mm-hmm,
Well,
I'm very proud of like my Peruvian heritage, but I'm
right.
also like I was also raised here. So
But
like
now you're proud of it. That's the thing. Now you're
that's
proud of it.
true. Yeah, that's
Like back
true.
in high school and all that stuff, when like it was just like so like not segregated, but like it's just like
But yeah, it
so
was. Yeah,
like black and white. You know,
it
you can't
was.
be in the middle, or whatever. You know, like
So
it
I
was
like
it
was
was
with
I
a
don't
white
know
crowd.
I don't know how it was in your high school, but in Roswell or wherever high school you went to, Ali, because I know Ron went to Roswell.
I went to
she went to
Roswell.
Roswell too. Went to the same high
Okay,
school. We
Yeah,
graduated the
so
same year.
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
so I don't know how it was there, but in Norcross, like I said at the beginning, Norcross High School was like an Ivy League, and so there was like a lot of whites people, a lot
Mm,
of like very good, like But then it started like once I got like to my junior year, it was different, and then that's when when you walk into the cafeteria for breakfast, you had your own category of people and their
interesting.
desks and their tables.
Clicks. Everybody
So it
clicks.
would
Yeah.
be it would be like
Mm-hmm.
the Asians with the Asians, and it would be the whites with the whites, and it would
Mm-hmm.
be the Hispanics with it. And I feel like you couldn't like really break that because it was like a kind of like a rule or law
Yeah,
sort of where you couldn't like be like, oh, I can hang out with this crowd and I can't hang out with this
yeah.
crowd.
It's
So
kind of
you
like
kind of
prison,
like,
huh?
yeah. So you kind of like felt like you were in prison. Like you were like, damn, I have to go with these because they're my people. Like, and but even though I have nothing to relate to because they just got here from whatever Latin American country they're from.
Yeah.
I mean, Latin
Right.
country they're from that I couldn't really relate. And why I didn't want to, and the sad part is that what I'm saying, and I didn't want to talk that much Spanish as well
Yeah.
because I was
Same.
just still uncomfortable with it because I just didn't have to use it,
Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
know. But I feel like I said, once we got out in the real world, out of high school, getting jobs, that's when we started meeting people more like us, and we're like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. Like we can actually relate, and actually we started. I feel like we started exploring more of our culture and being more comfortable with it.
I think social media has a lot to do with that as well. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like we're seeing a lot more people that are
Yeah.
like us, you know, more Americanized, speaking out, you know, being like, hey, it's okay to be Latino and Americanized. Because like back in the day as well, we didn't have social media.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all we had was
Right.
TV, and it just showed you like
Yeah.
this is what Latino looks like. You know, this is what they are. They only speak Spanish, whatever, with an accent, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and we didn't really see like an actual Latino that was like both Americanized but like look Latino. You know,
Yeah. No, that's
like social
true.
media, I
Did,
think, changed
did,
the game.
did y'all ever see the show? Because that's the first time I ever saw that. When I was like, oh, I think it's acceptable to be Latino. Was seeing a show and I think either in Disney or Nickelodeon, which was called The Garcias.
No, that's Nickelodeon,
Oh,
bro. I saw that.
you
Yeah,
You
Nickelodeon.
remember
Yeah, yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah, the three brothers.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
what?
was
I
just like
never
the
saw that.
You
it
never
was
saw
like the
that?
very first
No.
time. It was like only like they only had it for like a season or two.
Yo, it
It
was
wasn't that
good.
popular.
It
It
was
was
good.
good to
I
us,
liked
Ron.
it.
It was good to us because
Oh,
we
I
could
That's
liked it.
relate.
I liked. No, I
Because
liked.
that was
That was more Mexican, but I liked it. Even though I
no, yeah,
wasn't Mexican, like
but it,
I liked it.
it was relatable because they were here in the States
Yeah.
and they were
oh.
going through what we were going through, and their parents talking kind of Spanish to them, and they didn't want to like talk back and had an
Nope.
accent when they talked Spanish,
Yeah.
so it
That's
was
so
like very
interesting.
relatable. I mean,
It was.
Mm-hmm.
relatable.
I think it was three brothers that went to the same high school, right?
Mhm,
And but
mhm.
they had all different type of stage. You know, one was like I think a jock or like cool
Yeah,
hipster. One was like
yep, yep.
the middle child, right? Like I think I forget what he was.
I
But the
think one of them was
youngest
like a
one,
nerd. The youngest one was like a nerd.
young was a nerd, you know, very Americanized. They know
And
it's
the other
like a
one was
Spanish.
like the middle one was like, kind of like emo into like stuff like that, like rock.
Hey.
That's funny. Wow, I
He was a
wish I would have
Rolando.
seen that. I probably would have liked my background a little bit more.
But like I said, it didn't last long enough to me to be like, oh, like continue it. Like it was just like kind of like, oh, I guess it didn't get picked up too much, and they just like canceled it or discontinued it. So
Yeah, I was distraught when that happened, but then that also pointed another topic in my mind. When you mentioned the brothers Garcia, whatever, I also noticed that because me and Ali are Peruvian, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
another thing, it was hard for me to assimilate with the Latino people because usually they were from Mexico,
Yeah.
and they spoke Mexican slang, which I had no idea what that was. Even the ball thing, I didn't know what the
Same.
heck that was. Like I had to ask you about that, you know? Like it's certain things
Yeah.
that I don't get it. Como we
Mhm.
call you call it chancla, right? I call it chancleta. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I remember we sat down for like a good hour, that like differentiating like what everything
Words.
meant to us.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
think you told me one time, Ron, that you had an incident where you thought a torta
It's a cake.
was as a sandwich for us.
Yeah, it's a sandwich.
Which
for
is,
them.
And
I get so confused. I still to this day get confused.
Yeah.
You're like,
Well,
oh,
see,
torta. I'm like,
Rolando doesn't
sweet.
get confused anymore because I guess he's hanging out with me so much that he kind of did, just like me.
Now he
Just like
knows.
me, when I would hear the first time like slang and Peruvian,
Uh-huh.
or I would just look at them weird. Like I heard Rolando's cousin call some older guy tío.
Yeah.
And the Mexican culture, we don't call nobody tío. I was just like, so I walked up to him, I'm like, oh dude, I didn't know that was your uncle. And then he was like, no, ese mi ese es un señor grande que sí le hablamos así cuando están grande. Like
We say don.
you
Or
say,
don. Yeah.
Don,
yeah,
that's what-
tío. So I was just like, I was laughing because I was learning, and I was
That's
just like,
funny.
oh, okay, because we never really say that. We just say don, or yeah, we say don in Mexico, like because out of respect for like the person.
Oh.
So it was just funny. So yeah, so like Rolando.
Yeah, I was like, everyone's tío or tía.
No, I didn't
Tía,
know.
tía.
Like I'd be like, oh, you got to be blood related in order to be a tío or tía.
That's funny. No, that's true. Because in Peru, like I would like visit Peru, and I'd be like meeting all these people that were like, I don't even know if they were really related to me, but I'd be like tío, tía, tía, and I'm like meeting all these people, and I'm like, are they real? Like, is this like actually
If
like?
that's your mom. Like,
But they're like, oh no, I just went to school with them. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
okay.
Yeah, I like how Latino culture, everybody's like family once that
Mhm.
they meet them.
Well,
No,
it's funny too, like going back to like slang and stuff. I was in a dance group in college, and it was like a multicultural dance group.
Oh,
And I
okay.
remember there's like a Latin section, like a Polynesian section, an Asian section, like all these different sections of different cultures, which is awesome to like obviously learn about that. But I was like I would be put in like all these different dances, and I'd be in like one Latin number, but it was because it was like a lot of Mexican dances, and I was like, I don't know any of that. And then also they'd be talking in Spanish, and like my Spanish is good now. It wasn't good when I was younger. It's good now, but like I would like be like, what does that mean? And they're like, how do you not know that? Don't you speak Spanish? I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what that word means. Like, because it was slang. It'd be like it'd be people from Mexico that were like talking about random things.
And that's the thing too. Like I think Mexican people as well, like assume that. I guess they do the same thing Americans do, right? You
Mhm.
look Hispanic. I mean, you look brown. You
Yeah,
have dark hair. You must be from Mexico as well, right?
exactly.
When you're younger, I'm pretty sure now it's different, but when you're younger, the kids the same thing, right?
Hmm.
And the reason they treat this is actually a story for me. They treated me like I'm a cocky shit, right? Whatever, right? Like I'm a cocky whatever.
Yeah.
But then once they realized I was Peruvian, they were like, oh, okay, well that's cool. You know, they didn't give me that you're cocky shit. Oh, you're not one of us. You're Peruvian. You know.
Hmm.
So it to me it just puzzled me. It's like, why does it matter if like I was from Peru or Mexico? Like you're treating me differently based like because I'm not Mexican, so like I don't speak Spanish, you know. So I don't know if it's like I don't think if you can tell me like is it because like if I was Mexican and didn't speak Spanish, it looked wrong for the Mexicans, or kind of like because I'm Peruvian, it's okay, like it's fine because I'm not Mexican.
You know, honestly, it's hard to really say why the mentality is that way. It's more of like kind of like self-defense, sort of like a self-defense mechanism. Like, oh, then I have nothing to relate to you. It wasn't because you weren't Latino. It's just I guess we didn't see the broader side, or like the bigger picture of it. It was just like if you weren't from that specific race, like the country, then we couldn't relate to you. That's why we kind of like were on the edge, because it was just like, okay, we have nothing to really talk about. And I guess, like you said, as we grew, we were like, no, we have a lot of things to relate. In fact, like we can actually like share things, and are about our cultures and stuff. And you know, it was. I think it's all about people that think that way are small-minded Latinos. I have to say personally, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
That really don't accept other cultures and still know that it's Latino and we're all like one in some way.
Yeah.
You know, hence we have language. So
yeah.
Which I know we have various language like indigenous, but you know, one main language that like the gets that we're related. Like that means we're definitely related because we have something that we have in common.
Yeah. Well, it's also interesting because it's, I mean, obviously like after reconnecting with Rolando and like talking through a lot of stuff, like I didn't realize we have like, and with a lot of I think other like Latinos like that grew up here, like you have a shared experience.
Right.
Like even if like, and like now it's awesome that we're finding it out now, but like it's, you'd think people would relate more on that shared experience versus like putting whatever whatever countries against each other.
Right. Like I feel like there's a big thing back then where it was like Mexico always had a thing where.
Wait, repeat that.
Yeah, repeat that. You lost your connection.
We lost your.
Oh, sorry. That like I feel like back then. Not I don't know if it's now more. Back then I know it was more. Where people from Mexico thought, or people that are Mexican thought that we didn't like South Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Like I grew up thinking that way for some reason, and I didn't know why until I started asking myself, but why? Was because there were certain people that were too showy, or they felt like they were better than, because of like maybe because they thought they were more European, but that was just basing it off certain people. It wasn't the whole, everybody. And so like I feel like those were small-minded people, Mexicans, but it was a vast majority, and so they kind of like as me as a kid or like growing up and seeing that kind of like was just like, but why do we don't like them? You know, like there's nothing wrong with them, but. I think that's what it is. And like I think like once we start realizing that and talking about it like in podcasts like this and being more vague about it or like more transparent about it, then I feel like it'll open up a lot more conversation and getting to know each and other's cultures, you know.
Well, that's the thing too. Like I feel just because like say like more South Americans, you know, like say Argentina or Colombian.
Always got to bring up Argentina.
Argentina, you got to bring
no, right?
Argentina or Chile. You know, whatever.
Chile,
they're more like light skin, right? So they have that sense of like I'm better than you kind of thing. Like I don't want to like generalize.
I think that's a stereotype. Exactly what Lehi was talking about. Like it's a stereotype.
No, but like I've actually met
and it plays with your mind because Rolando's probably talking about that because I don't know if you remember Rolando. I was going to that Argentinian Uruguayan restaurant.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it's happened to Yeah, you saying.
Yeah, we walked in to our because we were like, oh, where you want to eat, and we're like, we shouldn't get Mexican now. We shouldn't get Peruvian. We always eat there. Let's get something like, let's go or like Uruguayan. There's a restaurant spot around the corner. Like, okay, let's go. We ended up going. It was kind of full. And the minute where I don't know if it was just us, but I felt the minute I walked in, I felt like everybody stopped talking and just turned around and stared at who was at the entrance.
Oof.
And like when we walked into the entrance door and we opened it up, everybody turned and looked and kind of stopped talking, sort of, and kind of gave us these like dead eyes. Kind of like being like, oh, who are y'all? Like, where are y'all from? You're not Uruguayan, or you're not like
like who are these two brown boys that I would just know they're not Argentinian?
Everybody in there was like light skin. Everybody in there was light skin, but I feel like it's just the perception that we have. Because
in Latino culture too, like that's a thing.
That's true.
There's still like discrimination against like light skinned, dark skinned people. You know,
the colorism,
colorism, yeah.
Well, in Peru, it's very much that way. Like, I don't know if you've gone recently, but it's still like very much, I think, that way. Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, I mean, growing up, I mean, I think now it's like more because, you know, everything going on with the world, especially in America right now, right? It's much getting more, how do I say, like it's spoken, right? Like, you know, this shouldn't be this way, you know?
Yeah.
Just because you're even with like the light skinned people now, I mean, light skinned Latinos, like, they go through some stuff because I know some friends that are Latino but light skinned, and they get told like, oh, you're not a real Latino because you are light skinned, you know, you're white, you know, and so I think it goes both ways.
I don't even think I'm that light, but light enough that people are like, oh, you're like really whitewashed and like,
you are
like,
you would be considered light
You
skinned.
are more light skinned than me and Lehi. Let's be real. I
Let,
mean,
let's do it. Let's do a scenario, and that's what we could tell. It's a how dark are you test. Um,
Sorry, my
how
dog.
how Latino are you? It's when you're in the sun. Do you tan quickly?
I burn.
you burn.
There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is.
I
She is,
tan, but I
she
also
is
burn.
European.
100% I burn.
Yo, it
She
takes
is
a minute for
European.
me to burn, like till I get
Yeah.
red.
I get Aztec.
Oh
I
wow.
sun and I get dark, like it's scary dark. And
That's funny.
it's funny when I see Orlando too because he gets dark, and then I don't see
Yeah.
how dark he got until he takes off his shirt, and then I see that he has like the
Farmer's
farm.
tan.
Tan line.
Yeah, Forest Day, yeah.
That's funny.
I get
So it's like-
construction dark, dude.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's the
What?
Really?
What?
construction. No, I say construction. Yeah, good time.
That paints a picture, right?
True. You're in the sun all the time.
So I don't know for you, like to go back to the question at hand, like what does it mean to be Latino? I think like just Latino, like I know we saw I think a movie, me and you, like I saw it. It was a crappy movie, like but the message was good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I saw it. I told you about it, Lehi. It's like
Yeah.
A Day Without Mexicans. I think that's the movie called, right?
Oh yeah, we
Oh
saw it.
wow.
We saw it. We and you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we saw it, and basically
Mhm.
like this girl, she basically was adopted into this Latino family, but she didn't know she was
Mhm.
adopted, so she thought she was 100% Latina.
Oh.
But at the end of in the movie, like it takes away all these Latino people, like from the world, and you see like how the world works without Latinos. You know, like there's no gardeners, there's no like people doing.
They basically it shows like the lifestyle of the Latino when the movie begins, how they're treated, how life progresses with them, but they're still being mistreated, and how everything is going on, and then all of a sudden one day we just all disappear
Mm.
for no reason. We just vanish, and then supposedly, I mean, it was extreme because I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, Latinos are very important to this economy now,
For sure. Yeah.
but I feel like back then, like it was too extreme. But I mean, I understood their point where it was like life didn't function as well, especially in the farms,
Agriculture, yeah.
agriculture wise, people that needed their landscape done, painting for cheap labor.
Yeah.
That's and that's what that movie was very, very interesting, and she was trying to figure out what's going on because she didn't disappear,
Yeah,
and
she was the
so
only one, and her whole family disappeared. Like you,
yeah, her whole
Basically.
family, everybody, and she was wondering why she didn't, and that's when she like kind of figured out that she wasn't. And I
She
mean,
was
if you want to
adopted.
watch the movie, you can watch it. Definitely, anybody that's listening, they can definitely watch that movie. Recommend it. It's very good to see how impactful it kind of is in a sense.
Mm.
I'm a film snob. I didn't think that movie was good. I like the story of it, but
No,
I
it
didn't
is.
think.
It was like,
You're like,
it's
I
not-
do not recommend.
Okay, so I'm a film snob, but I'm a film
Yeah.
major, or whatever. So like,
yeah, Ron ruins the movies.
That's yeah. Okay. Good to know. I'm never watching a movie with y'all.
No, he is
No.
because you might be there sitting enjoying that movie, and you're like, oh man, and then Ron, you turn to Ron, and then Ron's just like, oh man, this is predictable. I don't like it, and you're just like, what the heck?
I like movies that catch me off guard. You know, they're like
That's fair.
unexpected. Like that Avenger movie, the one where he wins, snaps his fingers. That
Civil?
caught me off guard. The
War?
Avengers.
Civil War, right?
No. It was the Avengers, the Infinity Wars.
Oh wow.
Right,
Oh,
where he snaps his fingers, he got the gloves.
I was confusing it with Civil War, Infinity War. You're right.
That's
So yeah,
funny.
I love that. That was a good movie.
No,
Nerd.
we're not talking superhero movies because I can't relate. So
Oh, you don't watch any?
I don't.
Not even Wonder Woman.
I know Chris, my boyfriend, gets mad at me because
Oh,
he
Chris.
like always wants to watch like actiony movies, and it's not my thing.
You don't like watching Wonder Woman?
Oh, actually, that one I did watch.
See,
Because I'm a feminist, so
you are. I was about to say I didn't even want to say it, but
you can say it. I'm
I'm just
not
kidding.
offended. I'm a very much a feminist.
Feminists
So
get a
ours-
bad term though.
Yeah.
I know. I think it's it's media with a lot of things. You know, people stereotype. I mean, with anything, you stereotype things, and
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did want to also talk about like because we have different experience. You know, we grew up differently, and we're still like, I think me and Lehi are good friends, right? Best friends, whatever.
I think
You say best
I think
friends forever or best friends or whatever?
best friends, whatever, whatever. Um, but me and Lehigh, like we come from two different backgrounds, but I think the progression. I think the climate is changing is also for Latinos as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially nowadays. And I like it. I love where the progression is going, but also I have some concerns as well as where the way it's going, where like the whole, especially the media base, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, say I'm in digital marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be the best digital marketer ever.
Yeah.
But people are gonna say, "Oh, he's the best Latino digital marketer," you know? And
Yeah.
I'm
I think
like,
that's
it's
interesting. Like have you can't have an identity, I think sometimes, especially in the media, like outside of um your race.
right. And like I'm much more than that, you know. Or sometimes like I feel like I get hired just because I'm Latino and because the whole culture is like, let's be more diverse, you know.
Mm,
And so sometimes I think like when I get cultures like, oh, are they hiring me because of my skill, or they hiring me because I'm, you know,
interesting.
adding to their diversity, you
Quota.
know, yeah, quota.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I've noticed, you know. And
That's interesting.
you
I
never
like
thought of
look at
that?
it. I mean, yeah, I've thought about that, I guess, but like I think I look at it as like I I want to be the Latina that's like doing so much to give an example like to other Latinas that maybe don't think that's possible or like
right.
or I think to like break the mold of like what people think a Latina is, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, I mean, it's even when I got into college, like I had like good friends like say like, oh, you just got in because you're Latina, and I'm like, I mean, I also did
Wow.
really good in school,
I got good
Yeah.
grades, like you know,
and I
yeah, like,
also like was in like 20 clubs, and I also like there was just like
Right.
I 100% was an overachiever, so like I think I was like, I mean, that like obviously offended me. And like that still like I think even I mean obviously I'm bringing it up so it still bugs me that like people would think
I
that.
mean, yeah, because they took away from like your hard work, right?
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
wasn't just because I'm Latino, I got this, you know?
Yeah.
Like I worked my way to get
Yeah.
this.
I know I'm like I know I did better on the ACTs than you did. So like I don't not
Burn.
you personally, but my friend who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, you
No, I
probably
got
did.
you. I got you.
You did better than Ron too. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, dude, okay, so I hate school. Like I would never go back to school and get a master's degree or get a
Really?
College.
PhD.
College.
I hate college. I think college is a waste of time, to be honest.
That's
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 my
fair.
personal opinion. Of course, you need college, like if you're gonna be a lawyer, go to medical school, stuff like
Yeah.
that, blah blah. But like in order to get like a job, I think Alan, you talked about this, like get a job like
Hmm.
I don't know. I was an insurance job, right? And my first job after college was an insurance company, and I was like, why the frick did I go to college to be in an insurance company? You know,
Yeah,
like you can teach this to anyone. You don't need a
for
degree to
sure.
learn this stuff. You know, so that's
Yeah.
my personal opinion of college, and just I feel like it's I overpriced as well.
It is overpriced, but I'm very much for college.
See, there you go. So,
Yeah, I think, but I think, I mean, we've talked about it too, though. Like, I think it opens a lot of doors, like network wise, and like,
so
I
you
think,
used it though. You used your college
yeah,
experience. I didn't. I didn't.
no,
Like networking wise, like you said, like you know,
yeah,
for you especially.
yeah. I mean, yeah, when I lived out west, like, yeah, I used connections there for sure. Here
Ron,
that doesn't serve me, but like,
Ron,
I
do you
still need a
feel
network,
like,
so it's like the same.
yeah, do you feel like Ron, you feel that way because you didn't go to BYU where maybe you could relate to more people?
It probably yeah, it probably is because like
Mm,
I spent my time like working part time, and I didn't live on campus as well, so I didn't enjoy the whole
mm,
college experience, right? Like my siblings, younger siblings, they're enjoying the whole full experience of being in college. You know, like
yeah,
being in the campus, you know, working a job, like in the environment, you know, being
yeah,
adults, whatever. I didn't get the opportunity, right? Which is fine, you know, to me though, you know, because I wasn't, you know, I don't care, you know, it is what it is.
yeah,
I'm not one to complain about it. But to me, I guess like the reason I'm so against college is I'm against college if you don't know what you want to do, and
yeah.
also depending on what you want to do. You
That's
know,
valid. Yeah.
like if you want to be a filmmaker and editing person, I'm like, don't
Mhm.
go to college. Don't do that. Just like get your own experience, get your own clients, get practice in, and get a reel. You know, like your portfolio, and then that way you
Mm,
can get yourself in the door. Like you know, you just
for
don't need
sure.
college for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't need to learn what science or chemistry is. You know, in college, like well, my major is film. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of like creative fields, you don't necessarily. I mean, I know plenty of people that like went to college for something else, and then started learning like graphic design and are now graphic designers. So there's like so many different. Yeah, you're right. There's different routes to get to where you want to be, but for me, it was I think good exposure to like figure out what I wanted to do,
Mm.
and I did. I mean, my major help. I studied sociology, so like my major helped me in marketing now, but yeah, I mean, obviously figuring that out before would have been nice.
Right, but yeah, but like nobody tells you, especially like first generation of
Hmm.
all of us, like, hey, in junior year, take the SATs, turn it in, make sure to turn your grades in,
Yep.
Yeah,
here's some scholarships where you guys can earn some stuff, like some money, college is
yeah,
expensive, like,
yeah,
the whole FAFSA financial aid thing, that was hard for me to guide through. And I had nobody to help me out because like
yeah,
my parents didn't know anything. They didn't know
yeah.
squat. I
Same.
was the oldest person, so I had to figure all this stuff out, it just, I don't know. It wasn't a good experience. And I didn't even get to enjoy my college experience like other
Mm,
people, like, like say like an American person that's been here for a while,
yeah,
and his dad has connections and like to good schools,
that's
and
different.
like,
Yeah,
hey, don't worry about it, tuition is cut free. I know because me and Lehi had know somebody that he didn't have to pay tuition because his mom worked for the school or something like that.
that's great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely knew people I mean, at BYU and like at other schools that had that, and that's like, oh, that's like obviously I'm jealous because I'm like I have student loans now.
Yeah, I have to pay for it. I have to pay back
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
But that's another thing. Like to me, like, so because I grew up like, coming here, 5 year old with nothing, like no house, no furniture, nothing. My parents start from bottom. Like to me, I believe like why be jealous of that?
Yeah,
Just work hard for it
for sure.
and make your own way through it. And like, and your kids can have what you didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's my mentality of like I'm not gonna sit here and just complain about it.
For
I'm actually
sure.
gonna do something about it and improve myself.
No, that's a great perspective.
It's why I'm not jealous of one of my siblings, whatever. I'm glad that they're having a good time of their life and everything. So.
It's okay if you're jealous. I'm just kidding. I'm like you sound a little. I'm just kidding.
They got a little
Salty?
hesitant there.
Nah. I really do love it. Like, and
Just kidding.
I tell talk to Lehi too. We're
Mm-hmm.
best friends, whatever. I tell him like, dude, college is not for everybody. Like, and
For
that's
sure.
okay. Like
Yeah.
if you don't like college, that's okay. There's other ways to get a good paying job. Out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there's so many like people that do think like an entrepreneurship route or like what like both of my siblings didn't go to college either, and they're both really successful. So I think it's the like hard work and determination you can still like put that into like a career rather than into education because you're right like the college system is not for everyone like testing is like especially
I hate
isn't
testing.
for everyone.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like I chose my major specifically because I was like I am good at writing and like all my tests were like writing and like data kind of stuff, but like I couldn't do like sciencey stuff or like other like random stuff because I was like nope.
Yeah, I sucked at test taking. My girl right now, she's great at test taking, but she
That's
doesn't remember a thing. Like
awesome.
after she takes the test, she doesn't remember a thing.
That's
But
how I tested.
she's a good test taker though. I mean, like, dude, the heck. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so that's my little spiel about college. Sorry, to get off topic.
That's funny.
But
Now
yeah,
we're back a little bit to Lehi. What I think now, like looking back on like maybe like your experience, like how do you think that's shaped you into being like a Latino now? Like, that's a big question, I guess, but
I mean, I feel like I kind of know my place in society,
mm,
in the sense of like I don't have to. What's the word? I don't really have to categorize myself.
mm,
Um,
you're in a
because
box.
like you said, I tried to.
You're not in a box. Put in a box.
Yeah, because back then, like I said, we were trying to figure out who we were and like we were American or we were Latino.
mm-hmm,
But it's like you can be both. Like like Latino doesn't have to be a category.
mm,
It can just be like who you are, as a Latino.
yeah,
Then Latino, like who you are as an American, you are an American. And
I like that.
and so like I think it's helped me out because I learned to accept it, and my parents had, like I said, a big role in it because they kind of influenced still that culture in me, making me dance the folkloric dances and all the good stuff.
So,
And so
K-pop's
like,
part of your Mexican culture still, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And they weren't like, oh, you don't have to learn. Like, see, like because my middle brother Nephi, um, or I guess yeah, I shouldn't have said his name.
It's
um,
okay. It's
he
okay.
doesn't.
You
It's
can
hard.
re-say it and I'll edit it out.
No, it's okay. Like, well, okay. So my sibling, one of my siblings, he has his family, has kids, and he's living with them, and his kids don't know Spanish. But I don't feel like it's because he didn't want to teach him. It's just the fact that it's he's on his own with that, and he
Yeah.
married an American. And so you can see them, and you would think they're Hispanic or they are Hispanic, but you try to talk to them in Spanish, they don't know anything. So I feel like in the long run, that will affect them.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be difficult for them to say, "Oh, I don't speak it." And in a more diverse world right now that we're in, it's like more opportunities.
For
It
sure.
is.
Unfortunately, even though like we like used to Rolando said, we don't want to be categorized just because we know Spanish and we get the job. But at the end of the day, it's beneficiary to us.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they grow up and they kind of learn that as they go. But I feel like my brother didn't really try to either because he got very Americanized. He went from like being like into the gangs and all this when he was younger
Yeah.
to very like redneck pickup truck.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah,
like
that's
that's
360.
yeah.
And so, and he, like I said, he doesn't see the need for it anymore like that. He talks to them in Spanish, get here and there words, but
Yeah.
not to the point where they would like completely understand it and like be able to talk to you back. But I feel like that's why I'm kind of appreciative that my parents continue to make me speak Spanish at home, even though I
Yeah.
was forgetting it, because they wouldn't respond to me if I talked to them in English.
That's
They would wait until I
yeah.
responded in Spanish, and so in the long run, that's helped me out. So yeah, I think
No,
it's always helpful. Yeah.
No, I like
yeah,
what
I
you
think
said.
that's true. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
Oh, I would say I think that's true though. Like, but I also want to, I guess, say like, I don't think there's any. You're still Latino, obviously,
Absolutely.
if you don't speak Spanish. Like, for me, I think I'm not, it's same boat as you. Like, I'm super grateful that my mom made me learn and like
Yeah.
sent me to Peru a couple times to improve my Spanish.
That's nice. See, like that. That's nice to be able to do that. Yeah, for sure. That
Yeah,
helps more.
because that I think now, like as an adult, makes me feel more connected to my heritage. Um, that yeah maybe but like that's also different for everyone, like maybe someone's connected through like dance or someone's connected through
That's true.
like stories or something. So like I guess I just wanted to point out like some people are Latino even if they don't speak
Yeah,
Spanish.
yeah, of course. Like I said, like it doesn't not make you it. It just makes it
Yeah.
more difficult
Mm-hmm.
because you feel like you don't belong, and I
Yeah,
don't hate when people make other people feel that way.
for sure.
And it's okay that you don't know Spanish, but it's just like I know, like I said, like they're my nephews, so I guess that's why I care my niece and nephews. So that's why it's like I don't want them, especially because I know they're gonna grow up in a very Americanized culture,
Yeah.
schools, and all that. So it's like they're not gonna have that type of help where it's like it's okay, like I understand, and it's just like so and to me, I guess I'll try to be there as much as I can for them, but it's like they'll have to learn as they go, but they're still considered Latino, and I hope that they feel like they're Latino, but I don't categorize themselves as that, or they're gonna say like they're American or whatever.
Right.
But
No,
yeah,
I agree with you, Sid. Yeah, definitely. I think you make a good point. I think there really is no right or wrong answer, to be honest, because like everything just depends on the person, and
right.
and situation as well.
Yeah,
Well, we have like an hour. Like we've been talking for like an hour now, so I don't know
I think
if
that is good.
you want to stop here, or you want to,
No, I think that's perfect.
throw out some gems for Ali.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
No, it's been fun. Like I think having a podcast, I feel like now this generation coming up is more can more relate to people that are like them in the sense of like Latino Americanos
Yeah.
because there's technology
Mm-hmm.
that spreads out more
Mm-hmm.
and connects to people like, oh, that person is just like me, or
Yeah.
it's more acceptable now in this time and age versus us. We kind of didn't have that type of technology. We only had like
Mm-hmm.
what, MySpace, AOL,
Yep.
and
TV.
Yeah.
yeah.
TV.
So it's like now it's like you see it more. So I feel like this podcast is definitely going to help people relate, and because that's what people want. People want to relate. People want to know that they're not alone out there, like kind of like figuring it out, like, oh, like
Yeah.
just a loner. But like it's Latinos are our type of Latino Americano, like are like, well, I'm not gonna say we're first generation because we weren't born here, but close to it. Like we for sure know the culture and what the differences are. And like I know when I have kids, I'm definitely gonna try to teach them Spanish,
Mm.
Same.
and be accepted of as what their culture is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, my
it's
kids. Yeah.
it's makes us who we are.
For sure.
I feel like I love this country. I love America, but sometimes I feel like Americans can sometimes be very cold
Yeah.
in the sense of like the way of approaching stuff. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's where we come along, and we give
Mm-hmm.
that best of both worlds, in the sense
Yeah.
of being welcoming, but also being like understanding of like the culture. But
That's
I mean,
really, yeah, I like that.
I do too. No, that brings a really good perspective because you're right. Like, I for sure want my kids to be proud of who they are, and like,
of
but
course,
yeah, having the both of the cultures, I think is really
absolutely.
helpful.
It's a good segue into like having American people like be introduced to Hispanic culture,
Mm-hmm.
not as in like so like
Intimidating
hate
almost.
intimidating. Yeah, intimidating when a person can't speak English correctly.
Yeah.
And so it is a good like like okay, well this American Latino people are not just this one type of Latino, right? There's other
Mm-hmm.
types of Latinos as well. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that's really
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah.
And
So I
just
guess
wanted to,
to wrap up,
yeah.
Lehi, what advice would you give to Latinos just in life?
Don't feel like you need to fit in right away somewhere. Kind of find your way. If it is in the sense of type of music you listen to, type of TV shows you're into, just because someone's Hispanic or not Hispanic doesn't mean that they can't be your friends, or you can't
Mm,
something that's relatable to you with them. Just to keep an open mind. Keep an open mind, and just talk to whoever, like be friends with whoever you want to be with. I think that's the main thing for Latinos now. It's like just be open minded and be just the world's our oyster, and we have a big impact in this world. And I feel like it's a blessing in disguise sometimes when we were younger, not knowing that. But I'm grateful for being Latino because it's given me a big perspective. It's like both worlds, and I get best of both worlds.
mm-hmm.
I so I feel like advice to them is, yeah, just keep an open mind. Don't rush into anything of categorizing yourselves. Just be who you are, and you'll find the friends that will be related to you some way somehow. So yeah.
Thank you. I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Cool.
Do you want to shout out your Instagram handles if people want to follow you? Where can they find
Do you give private? You can give private if you want. It's fine.
you?
um, yeah, I mean, my Instagram. What is my? I don't even know what my Instagram name is.
It's not Spanish poet no more.
Oh gosh, no, I think it's Lehi Castaneda and Instagram, and yeah, you can definitely follow me there. Just I don't really post too much, but I try to here and there, trying to get back into the photography thing and things that I like to do and hobbies,
Awesome.
music and everything. But yeah,
Cool.
but I appreciate y'all having me. I really enjoy this podcast. I think this podcast is much needed.
Thank
Every time I try to look for a podcast in Spotify for like this type of things, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you be a regular guest. We'll see.
We'll see how
Yeah.
our non-existent audience so far
Yeah,
responds.
yeah. We'll check the analytics and then we'll let you know.
Yeah. I was just like, okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, but be sure to follow and subscribe.
me and Ali also have a YouTube channel called Things I've Learned, and there we actually interview. We have a series going on about Latino stories where we actually interview people of Latino descent in industries either like a lawyer or like what is it, risk management.
Oh wow.
What is it? I'm blanking out. I'm blanking out people that does taxes.
Accounting.
Accounting. Accounting. I can't wait. I
Ooh.
blanked out on that. My bad. My bad. Yeah. And I'm actually have Lehi if he wants to do it, like it be interviewed for the Latino
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah,
Maybe
be
check
sure
him
to
out.
check that out for sure.
Yeah.
And follow us on Instagram at things_I've learned.
Yeah, and it's just a segue. Just gives you a little, like how people got their jobs. Being maybe it's like the similar situation as you. Like they were born here or like they came here, and what they did to get the job. So just subscribe and also listen to this podcast.
Yeah, and tell your friends.
Yeah,
Cool. That's it, I guess.
sweet.
Cool. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank y'all.